I've been buying rings like I'm Kobe.
I hit that Ginobili with my left hand up like woo.
Niggas underrate me like Jalen Brunson, but yo, I'm leaving with something.
Hold up, I ain't trying to stump, man, but the Yeezys jumped over the jump, man.
Left my elbow in the pot, a la Vince Carter.
Bitch, you weren't with me shooting in the gym? James Harden with the range, on me nigga way back.
Coach, they won't knock me off my pivot. Get it.
My shooter turn you inside out. Fresh Prince jacket, boy, I cook them till they inside out.
What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. Now, even through this season's ups and downs, I'm gonna still say round of applause for yourselves. We alive, we still here, and the pivots will be made. But make no mistake about it, the patience gotta come along with it. Long gone are the days where teams could just say, fuck it, we're just gonna scrap a couple plays in a trade and try to piece things together. The league has become a little bit more complicated than that, but we're gonna get into it. Nice little mixed bag right here, as we'll hear from a number of folks on a multitude of layers of what's going on with the team, from the financial side to the on-court dynamic. But first, I'm gonna start off saying, with Karl Anthony Towns this season, I know a lot of the blame is going on him, but there is a clash of Mike Brown's new style of offense and Karl Anthony Towns' adjustment to it. He's having the worst efficiency from three and around the cup this season. Some of that is spilling over to the team dynamic, as the Knicks this season is one of these bottom tier teams when it comes to defending the three and around the cup. I gotta say, the roster construction around the Knicks is gonna be called into question, and Leon Rose will have to make those pivots if need be. First, I'm gonna start off with Iman Shumpert, as he was present in the Garden, and there was a few noticeable things that he spoke about from a player's perspective when it came to the utilization of Karl Anthony Towns. When you look at teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, who love to play small, Karl Anthony Towns cooking up in, let's say, an NBA Finals matchup going up against them would be one of the main keys for the Knicks to win a series like that. But Iman gave great insight to how he thought the Knicks were not necessarily utilizing Karl Anthony Towns to his full potential. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
But the Knicks did fall to the Suns, and they should not have. Again, they played without Jalen Brunson. They played without Josh Hart. But there's no reason they shouldn't have won that game. I think one of the questions I pose, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, Mike Brown is, you know what I'm saying, shout out to him. Always had respect for the man as a coach. Why the fuck don't y'all throw the ball to Cat when his back's to the basket? I don't get it. Like, I had to sit there and watch them play a zone, and I watched Cat let Grayson Allen, who is one of the dirtiest, like, he just doing all type of shit out there. Dylan Brooks doing all type of shit out there. And y'all have a chance while they're at the bottom of the zone to duck Cat in, and he don't get the ball.
Well, we're starting to see Mike Brown actually hit a wall when Jalen Brunson can't play in some of these games, just trying to utilize Karl Anthony Towns. Things don't look as fluid, even the matchups against the Kings and the Golden State Warriors. And that's where Cat should be punishing these teams. Just to start off the new year, the Knicks offense is ranked at the bottom of the league, and the same thing for their defense. Sure, we had a bunch of injuries to guys like Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, etc. But this is the point of the season where the Knicks start to establish themselves at the top of the hierarchy of the Eastern Conference.
I have yelled at Amari. Amari Stoudemire will tell you I cursed Melo out. If they had a nigga down there and Melo asked for that ball but didn't, like, push niggas out the way and get big, like, throw that! Like, show me you available. Like, I watched Cat he showed, they wouldn't throw it, he kind of got mad, jogged off, went over to the corner. And when I'm looking at it, I'm just like, the rhythm being off, because I totally get we all did it where everybody's grabbing it. Oh, who do they add this next year? Because that's just the New York Knicks way. After y'all win some shit, the closer you get, they gonna say, who do we need to get to put us over the hump? That's just how New York think. I don't know why. That's just what they be on.
Yeah, sometimes teams are a little bit too reactionary. Look what happened to the Los Angeles Lakers when they went out of their way to get Russell Westbrook. And pretty much things have gone downhill ever since. Right now, it's a very important time for the Knicks not to rush to judgment because the NBA is not set up for teams to constantly be switching guys here and there due to the second apron rules. That's where Leon Rose is really in a delicate balancing act.
Y'all don't need shit else. Y'all just need to get this shit together. Part of it is that nigga's supposed to have 12 to 15 points off of back to the basket, gang. I'm sorry. I know you see it too. You see it.
You know what? The reason I'm laughing is because low key you kind of answered your own question. I think that's not the way he wants to play. For real. Like, I really see that in Karl Anthony Towns' game. It's
and that's a problem for Mike Brown because if you look at the kind of players he's had within his system, they can be that kind of playmaker with their back to the basket. Draymond Green in Golden State, Sabonis in Sacramento. I would say guys like Julius Randle would be a better fit in a Mike Brown system. But again, a lot of Karl Anthony Towns' face-up game really relies on him being hot from three, and then he's able to weaponize that by pump faking and then just driving to the hoop.
I feel like
I watched him.
I know, but just like you just said, it's a difference between you asking for it and demanding. Like they did this with Zion Williamson a couple weeks ago, where it's like, when you demand the ball, we can hear you from the stands. We can hear you on TV. Like the other night, fucking.
But it's also
it was
work your body position. Work your body position. Duck in, make yourself real big. Pause.
Facts. And Karl Anthony Towns might have to holler at Clyde Frazier because the players of his era, it was a different game back then, but they played more of a positional game due to the fact that they didn't really have the freedom of movement guys have today. A simple bobble or just fumble the ball in transition will be considered a travel. Shit, even a spin move will be considered a travel back then. So due to that lack of movement with the ball, guys back then mastered positioning their bodies at a certain angle to create space and also to get the best positioning. It's kind of crazy when I think about it because I remember Clyde Frazier stating that none of the players really asked him for advice like that.
But yeah, duck in and be like, hey! And then if you don't get it, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, let's go, baby. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
And,
you see me though, right?
And that's what I'm saying. People, anybody who's played before knows that. It's like, man, if somebody doesn't get the ball or if they don't get the rock in the situation they wanted to, they will come after you right after and be like, hey, yo, what were you doing? You missed it. You missed me. He doesn't, that's the thing. Cat doesn't do that. And then on top of that, it's like sometimes he falls. Sometimes he loses control. I don't think
I think it's from this is the least amount of reps he's had back to I don't think he's comfortable.
That's what I was just gonna say. He doesn't. You could tell he's not comfortable with it himself.
It's definitely a 5-out offense.
Trusting him. Right, but I don't think they trust him in that situation either. Like back to the basket.
They definitely don't because you're gonna have to rely more on his decision making, and sometimes Cat does have that habit of just having too many brain farts through certain periods of the game.
And I get it. No, I get it because you know I don't play like that
this
either.
Nigga
like,
used to cook us.
Right, but at the same time, that's not the way the NBA is playing. And when Jalen's out there, that's not the way they really play either. It's more so they wait on him and then they go. I get it. Where they should.
Got Cat. I thought Jalen was gonna do Jalen like shit, but if it go down and Jalen need a little help, he's supposed to have relief.
And that relief is looking very inconsistent. It's very up and down like a roller coaster. You don't know what the fuck you're going to get from Karl Anthony Towns from game to game. There's no real consistency with just Brunson, Cat, and maybe Mikal and OG cooking at the same time. I see what Leon Rose was doing originally by going after Karl Anthony Towns. He figured he could have that two-man game with Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson in the pick and roll. But right now, being 2 seasons in, I would say Hartenstein's pick and roll with Jalen Brunson in that 2024 season after Julius Randle had went out, that two-man game had a lot more chemistry than anything Cat and JB's had in the past 2 seasons.
That's supposed to be, boom, I could take this possession off, load it up over here on the weak side. If you need me, I got this lefty ready to go. But Cat, do your thing. That's your kill. During this slump, I don't think it needs to be a panic at all. There's no panic happening. I think there needs to be an awareness for Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson took notes. That's the one thing that's really cool about Jalen Brunson. He wasn't like screaming and doing the most. I've seen him at times where his body language is a little, you know what I'm saying, discouraged at times when he can't pull a rabbit out the hat. But the way that motherfucker takes a challenge, bravo. I really love how he take a challenge.
Another challenge for him is probably going to have to be to get Karl Anthony Towns the ball in his spots. Matter of fact, that's really a challenge for Mike Brown. The fact that Cat didn't even make the All-Star game, it's not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. And you got to wonder if Cat is really discouraged by this. He sees his numbers dipping down. He's getting a lot of the blame. And he was consistently making the All-Star team in the past 4 seasons. And now in a depleted Eastern Conference, he doesn't even get a nod.
Cat's challenge is going to be finding his rhythm without having to rely on that 3 ball. Because at the end of that game, you could tell he didn't have a rhythm and he didn't feel like relying on that 3 ball. And I don't think they did anything to help him. I don't know if there is something they could do to help him that won't disturb the offense. But I know that Cat is good for a couple of jump hooks and his whole swag changes once he gets in there to mix it up. If you remember in the playoffs, his best games, them 30 balls, they all came from him driving closeouts, playing 6 to 18 feet, face up, get by somebody. I have to get by you, hook shot. Like, that's his game.
And the 3-point shooting is what really opens that up for him. Once he starts getting it going, teams really become compromised because they don't want him getting those off, and he just pump fakes and just blow bys most of the centers. Fucking Cat, he's really good at going downhill in a straight line, but he can't move side to side like that, especially defending.
Him to stay within that, like I know he can shoot the ball and I know what the new NBA is, but what the fuck did they get to the NBA doing this for if they all got to turn into an overseas motherfucker? I don't get that. Like, half of these motherfuckers have highlights in college games that are not suited for this NBA game, but they all have to get here and we all have to be.
Hey, welcome to the analytical era. It was already bad that the NBA was a copycat league, but now they're trying to fit everyone in this one box. And it's not just the NBA, it's multiple industries where there's just no real excitement or innovation because everyone's just trying to do what was already done before, and they're trying to do it at the highest efficiency possible. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you were excited for, like, I don't know, a brand new clothing release or a brand new song that dropped or even a movie or a piece of artwork? Everything right now is really copy and paste. I'm talking about that real excitement when you know you found something dope and very unique.
Here we all have to be, you know what I'm saying, 6'8" with an accent.
I'm glad you
shoot
said
threes.
it, because that's really what I feel like is a problem in the NBA, and I feel like it stagnates a lot of progression and a lot of development for younger players. Not to say Cat's one of the younger players, but at the same time, it's kind of fucking up the way that he views, you know, his role and what he needs to do, you know, in order for New York to be effective.
And that window was already a tight window with Cat because on the offensive end, he had to been cooking, because defensively, it's almost like everyone is trying to make up for just his lack of mobility and awareness.
It's not, I think it's an issue. I think it is a little bit of a panicky thing, just because I don't know if he's going to fix this on his own. Like, this isn't something you could just, you know, I don't think this is something he could just play through. You know what I mean? Especially if he has a few, like, what if he has a few really good games and then he thinks, oh, I'm all right. Then gets the playoffs and then this shit is going to happen again. That's the thing. I feel like this is going to happen again. And I don't think he has any
fool's gold.
Yeah, I don't think he has any fail safes or anything to lean back on to be like, hey,
so
like,
it's safe to say what I said before.
He does have fail safes. One of his go-tos could be getting to the free throw line at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a game. Another thing for him could be getting 5 to 6 assists per game.
Like, until they get that pick and roll, that 1-5 tandem down, it's tough for them.
Hey, Leon Rose is going to have to re-examine that idea. I understand you were kind of going for the pick and roll that was dominating the league around 2019 to, I would say, 2023. That Jamal Murray, Jokic, that Tyrese Maxey, Embiid. But the league is slowly pivoted away from that as teams have a lot of players that are making decisions and just the overall play style is a lot different.
Yeah, you in trouble.
It's
You in
crazy.
trouble.
'Cause
And the
I
league is
swear I
on
be
notice at
speaking
this
the truth. I swear I be speaking the truth. The only way the 1-5 don't work is if y'all go John Stockton, Carmelo. Pick and roll, see if we got the pocket pass. If not, it's either your kill or my kill. Who got the matchup? Because if they switch on Cat, Jalen should throw that bitch down there. And if I was Jalen, I wouldn't even go to the weak side.
I don't know if Jalen's even a pass-first guard to even consistently do that. I'm not too sure.
Let him post up and stand right there on that pinch post tray. And say, if he fucking move, throw it over here, Cat. If he flinch, throw that motherfucker over here and I'm gonna shoot that motherfucker. But that's all they need at the end of the game. They just need something they could go to that it's like, y'all know it's coming. The fuck are you gonna do about it?
Hey, once again, that's relying on Karl Anthony Towns' decision-making. Will the Knicks, when push come to shove, be constantly relying on something like that throughout these games? Because he is bound for a couple of brain farts throughout these quarters.
Like, that's what we was doing at the end of the game. Me and Swish in the corners, or Swish and fucking K-Love in the corner with T-Top in the dunker. End of the game, you got to deal with Bron coming downhill and the motherfucker setting the fucking pick and roll as Kyrie Irving. The fuck are you gonna do about it? At the end of games, it just be Jalen dribbling around. It was Deuce McBride dribbling around. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? No bullshit. Kolek was out there.
I'm just laughing.
I was like, dog, what? Yeah. Kolek be killing. He be hooping. But you could tell at the end of the game, he really didn't know what to do. Like, I just need them at some point to recognize, like, even though we're playing like this, when it gets to a point where there's a 6-0 run on their side, like, we just went down on a 6-0 run. Okay, 6-point swing. Slow it down. Hey, Cat, get to that free throw line.
Facts. Tell him, Shump, get to that fucking free throw line. Bring that big-ass body down there, man. Come on. And that search for that fourth quarter identity has been something that's been really plaguing the Knicks for a long time. I would say since that Pacers series, the first time around when we lost to them. Game 3, the Knicks had a chance to go up 3-0, and just a few blunders here and there allowed the Pacers to just come back, and eventually the series end up swinging. Also this season, early on when the team was playing a lot better before the Cup championship, they had the same issues, but they were able to pull through, and it even played out in the championship game against the Spurs for the Cup. Tyler Kolek came to the rescue, and he did the same thing in the Christmas game. So these problems have been front and center. Is that a few things kind of went our way. We got the luck of the draw.
Get to the free throw line. I don't even need you to do nothing special. Get to the free throw line. Break this up.
So continuing on, out of 14 games this season where our defense looked like complete shit, 7 of them was against some of the worst ranked NBA offenses in the league. And 2 of them was against the Dallas Mavericks. In the second matchup on MLK Day, it seems like that was the breaking point for this team. Just being at home and giving up over 70 points in the first half. And the energy levels is what really stuck out. Carmelo Anthony and Tracy McGrady touched base on it. And as 2 former NBA players, they saw certain things around the bench and player huddles that it didn't look too good to them.
They don't know who they want to be right now.
I'm disappointed in the Knicks, honestly, because when you look at the Eastern Conference, no Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Right? You got a young Detroit Pistons team, and you have other teams really trying to figure it out. You are an established team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. To come back with more motivation to try to make it to the finals because you have the same, identity in the roster. And you're playing like a team that you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
There's some friction.
You can see it in the huddle.
You can see it. There's some friction in this locker room that needs to be ironed out. I don't know who, what, coach, player. Something has to be done because This can't continue.
It's like you cooking. Okay, good. No, but I mean, but it's also effort. So even if things are going bad, you have to give the effort. You still have a motor. You can still play hard, even if shots aren't going in. They're not doing any of it. You're losing 27-2 in fast break points.
If I don't like you, why am I playing hard? Because I got a grudge. I'm holding something towards you or the coach or the system.
Now, that might not be the case, but let me say this. With a lot of the defensive relapses and players having to make it up, that is a growing frustration that is definitely building up. That goes for Karl Anthony Towns as well as Jalen Brunson. And if Mike Brown does not even call them out on it, that can build up another layer of animosity.
What is the salve? How can you fix it?
Somebody got to go.
Oh.
Somebody got to go.
Somebody got to go.
So you just got to make a change?
You got
somebody got to make a change, but I don't think they making a change. I don't think they're going to make a change. With this team, they have to figure out what they want to do from an identity standpoint.
And who they want to be.
And who they want to be, because they don't know who they want to be right now. Forget the game. Okay. Forget the numbers. We gave up 70-something points in the first half. 75 to be exact in the first half. Now you see Jalen Brunson bringing guys together. Now the post-game. Nobody leaves the locker room. Nobody leaves the arena until we figure this out. Any issues, any problems, get to the middle of the locker room. Let's hash this out. Let's figure this out, because we can't keep going down this path. We know this is a rough stretch for us right now. This is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of noise, as you know.
Yeah,
playing,
it's a lot of noise,
in
man.
New York, it's a lot that comes.
I mean, we see the body language.
Yeah.
We see the body language on shots. We see on miscues out there. We see when the fans get involved in the game. We see how easily it is for a player to start to separate themselves from the noise. Right? So when you separate yourself from the noise, you put this wall up, and you don't want to hear nothing, and you don't care about nothing. And this is just this wall you put up to protect your sanity and what you have going on out there on the court. I just think the Knicks is in a very rough stretch right now. Obviously, JB is not 100% healthy.
Sure, yeah.
But again, we talk about the others. Who are the others that's going to step up?
Because this is your chance.
Because this is your opportunity to step up. And we're not seeing that. We see a team who is looking for guidance. We see a team who's looking to figure out what their identity is. We see a team who's actually looking at everybody on that team to bring something to the table.
That's kind of crazy. Melo said they're looking for guidance. I mean, where the fuck is Mike Brown? But this is the interesting thing about this whole media landscape right now. We're getting a lot of insight from players, former players, team personnel, coaches. And there's been a viral clip going around with Matt Barnes talking about Mike Brown and some of the behind the scenes issues that he's had with certain players due to him kind of being known as being too much of a nice guy.
What about Mike Brown to the Knicks? Will it work? I got one hand saying, fuck no.
The one thing about Mike Brown is that first year
is always good. Mike is a great person. He's just, to me, he's not a leader of men. You have to be, I couldn't imagine it now because these kids are making so much money. You have to have the respect of them. And I think Mike is such a nice guy. That's what fucks Mike up. Mike wants to be cool with everyone instead of putting his foot down like, this is my team, this is what's going on. So that's why I feel like I've seen it. He was my coach with the Lakers. We had Mike after Phil Jackson retired. And when I tell you, rest in peace to my dog Kobe and Ron Artest, they walked all over that motherfucker. They used to sub themselves in and out of games. I'm just like, oh shit.
Hey, you was about to try it, like, hold on, let me.
I knew better. I'm a little crazy. I'm not stupid. I'm crazy. I'm not stupid. No, I can't sub my motherfucking self in the game. And then he came to, I think he learned a lot in Golden State underneath Steve Kerr. I think Mike Brown is a great second chair. Because when you sit in that second chair, if this is the first chair, when I tell you there's such a night and day difference sitting in the head coaching chair, I think Mike is a great assistant coach. I wish him the best, but I've seen it firsthand in Sacramento. His first year came in, brought Golden State's system. They made the playoffs for the first time, and Price and Salati were born, and then he lost the respect of the team quickly. So now you're going to a New York media market that's trying to eat you up. Every mistake, Mike is a good guy. I just don't think the situation is going to work because he's too nice for his own good.
Hey, Mike Brown's definitely going to have to lay down the law with the Knicks because This whole lineup, just this whole roster construction by Leon Rose, it has a lot of holes in it. The Karl Anthony Towns defensive, mishaps. Same thing for Jalen Brunson, just kind of compromising that defense. Then you got guys like Josh Hart who play good defense, but sometimes you really can't shoot. Same thing for Mikal Bridges. He's up and down. And the Knicks don't have a lot of athleticism in the backcourt and coming off the bench. Plus, everyone is really 6'5" and kind of below. So there's still a lot of holes in this roster Leon Rose has to fix. And Mike Brown to just wheel these guys in, especially to ratchet up the physicality due to the lack of size we have. He's going to have to put his foot down on a lot of shit, especially Karl Towns having too many brain farts. Speaking of Karl Anthony Towns, DeMarcus Cousins gives great insight on some of the internal scouting reports and what they say about Karl Anthony Towns. This Knicks squad this season has a lot of layers to them.
If anybody y'all should be mad at, it should be Cat. He should be defending himself. Stop letting these players punk you, bro. Like, it's simple as that.
Are you victim blaming right now, Boogie?
No,
What are you doing?
I'm calling the facts out. If you want to be angry at anybody, it should be Cat.
Okay.
Get up and stand up for yourself. The Sky Report is the punk Cat. Does everybody up here know that?
Now, right there, DeMarcus Cousins asked Chandler Parsons and Lemon Pepper Lou. They don't want to confirm or deny. Shit. Them boys got their strongest poker face on right now. If one thing, these NBA players, when they do this media shit, they do not like putting other guys' information on full blast because they probably got skeletons in their closet too that they don't want the public to know about.
The Sky Report is the punk Cat. Does everybody up here know that?
That's a quick scouting report.
All right, so if anybody should be mad, it should be Cat. Stand up for yourself. Stop allowing these things to happen.
Now, in my previous segment, I had brought up the same sort of sentiment that Udonis Haslem had towards Karl Anthony Towns and the seriousness to compete on a championship level. He alluded that the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't necessarily trade Karl Anthony Towns for financial reasons. It's really mainly because they don't really believe that they can win a championship with him on the team.
Yeah,
because
he
most
couldn't trade
of the teams
Rudy.
that go to the Western Conference Finals don't make moves to get better.
That's what I'm saying.
Just like the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, they usually
by the way,
bring
the
the whole team
championship
back.
Florida Panthers
But he
went to the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, lost, and made moves to get better, and came back and won the next year. Most of the time when you get there, all you say is, let's run it back.
I was just saying
to get that
that,
close.
like he was in a, to me, it was a unique spot because if you say he won the trade, and he easily could have, I mean, it's always gonna be fun to see.
Who knows what that draft pick they got? They
I
got a
don't.
draft pick
But
in that
I
too.
guess what I'm saying is like he had to do it financially because Cat had all those, like on the books, they're gonna get killed financially, so he had to make those kind of moves too now. You know what I mean? So it's interesting how he did that.
Listen, Killer, that sound good, but if the Cat was guaranteed to take them to the championship, you pay that tab, you get your ring.
100%.
So
I don't,
clearly, the financial moves was based off.
I'm saying
we ain't winning with this.
I'm saying you're playing chess now.
We ain't winning
You're
with
playing
this.
chess now.
That's what he said. We ain't winning with this.
Yeah, you said it
now,
too.
you got. I don't know about the rest of the team, but you got at least 3 on that squad that gonna let their nuts hang. Anthony Edwards ain't no motherfucking dog. I mean, ain't no punk. He a dog. DiVincenzo is a dog, and Randall is a dog. That shit matters in the
Rudy,
playoffs.
coach, I like
That shit matters in the finals.
And that very same aura that Unc is talking about right here, we all felt it at the start of last season. The team didn't necessarily have the same toughness as in the previous season with Isaiah Hartenstein, Randall being there, and Dante. We were missing a lot of sazon. I mean, goddamn, you got Draymond Green talking shit, and the Golden State Warriors could barely make the play-in in the past 3 seasons. What the fuck is going on here?
I think Cat going there plays better off of Brunson. Brunson's a ball dominant guy. Julius Randle's a ball dominant guy. Cat's more of a catch and shoot 3, unfortunately. They're trying to put him in that post a little bit. So I think the Knicks got better. I'm with him. I don't think it pushed them, but I think, Brunson and Julius Randle, when they played their best basketball, Julius Randle was actually hurt.
Yes.
So, Julius Randle's a great talent. Brunson's obviously a great talent. Both ball dominant guys. I think Brunson and Cat can play off each other a lot better than Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson can.
Now that part right there is what Leon Rose will have to examine, because when this trade was initially made, we all thought we was going to see a lot of JB and Cat pick and roll, and it was going to compromise a lot of these defenses. And that synergy is something that we really haven't seen. I mean, this is year 2, midway year 2, and that pick and roll dynamic is just, it really hasn't bear fruit like that. So Leon Rose definitely is going to have to reassess that train of thought. And the league also has pivoted. This is a completely different era. The level of talent of these role players are slowly closing the gap between co-star and role player. With basketball itself becoming the global sport, there's just a lot of gems in the late first rounds, second rounds, and even undrafted. So in today's league, there's a lot of teams that have at least 4 or 5 guys who could defend multiple positions. So that ball dominant guard just running pick and roll, it gets not only predictable, but easier to defend with these type of versatile wing players.
Man,
but
he talking.
It's the truth.
He talking that X's and O's. When you getting a 7-game series in the playoffs, X and O.
See, hold up. Vic, can I start off by saying I actually listened to what he said? I think he's right.
Damn, Steve Kerr. If you do this and move that around and this all that.
So
okay,
hold on. Okay,
man.
let me hit you one back. You don't think that Cat and Brunson are better paired up than Julius Randle and Brunson?
I do.
Okay,
I think
well
they're
then
better paired up.
Yeah,
But
we can
that's
both
just-
be right.
Yeah,
we
okay,
can
but
both
at
be
the
right.
end of the day, all the better pair. I don't give a fuck about the better pair. That shit gonna win. That shit get it done.
I agree with you though. I don't think it either moves it over. I just
And
think
once
that
again,
this is what we do all
Taking
the time.
taking away from the trade, missing Hartenstein is gonna hurt them.
Bro, right when you said it,
promise you.
they removed.
Facts, and that's something that Leon Rose is going to have to assess. Once again, like I said before, that pick and roll combination with JB and Hartenstein, it looks a lot more fluid than I would say. This is almost 2 years in with this Karl Anthony Towns experience. You would never think that, but my man Hartenstein, he built up a nice chemistry with Brunson after Julius Randle went out and he was starting, and it all kind of culminated in that 76ers series. Hartenstein just knew where to be, making great decisions as the roller, knew where to set the screens, and JB was putting on a masterclass within that. He just knew exactly where to be. He knew when JB was going to reject certain screens. They were just setting guys up even before the pick even came. Very underrated dynamic between the two. And let me say this. Honestly, if things played out a little bit different, the Knicks had Hartenstein's bird rights and Julius Randle was healthy enough that season, I'd rather the Knicks have ran it back with that same exact team. If they were able to beat Embiid with all the injuries that we had and take it to 7 games with the Indiana Pacers, God knows what that team would have done had they been fully healthy.
They removed all the Elmer's glue from the scenarios. Hartenstein, DiVincenzo, like they just the glues.
Those are the
I'm
guys,
with you.
bro. Let me tell you something.
And
Those are the
believe me,
guys that might not get the praise.
Hey, if anyone values those type of guys,
Exactly.
it's me and
Exactly.
you.
Those are the guys that might not get the praise, but those are the guys that you can't win without. I'm telling you, bro. Those guys, you need those guys in your locker room. And I know a lot of the times you might get frustrated with Julius Randle on offense and shit like that, but I bet that got heart.
No, he a dog. I'm just
heart.
telling you, like, again, I'm in the same. I actually listen to it. I think you're right on a lot of shit. I'm just saying, to me, when they were playing their best basketball, it was with space with Jalen Brunson. It doesn't mean that they're not. Like, I hate that when they say, oh, he sucks. No, they're just not a good. Like, to me, they're both ball dominant people. Like, Julius Randle is going to dribble it downhill and play.
agree.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how he plays.
I'm going to have to disagree with Mike Miller because once the Knicks made that trade for OG, they were cooking up. They were cooking in that first month. And Randle was in his playmaking bag. So the narrative with him not fitting, it really comes from that first year when Jalen Brunson came to the team and the Knicks didn't have any shooters. That's when Randle wouldn't fit. When you have RJ, Quentin Grimes bricking everything, and you have Josh Hart out there at the same time, then that fit wouldn't work. And I think Randle gets a lot of judgment off of that scenario instead of people talking about when they actually got OG in place of RJ, that run that the Knicks went on before, he had that shoulder injury against the Miami Heat. They never bring that fucking part up. Matter of fact, Randle still became an all-star, and he was about to make All-NBA, which would have been almost the same amount of times Karl Anthony Towns has made All-NBA. But it is what it is. Haters are going to hate. So continuing on, again, this is a multitude of layers, just how to overall fix these issues if they don't work out. Should the Knicks remain content? Should they not? Then after that trade deadline, they get the more difficult schedule. So how does Leon Rose really judge this? Does he stay on course and just not overreact, or should he pull the trigger and make a move? We've seen teams before, like the Los Angeles Lakers with Russell Westbrook, just a little bit too reactionary, and it ended up costing them in the long run, versus other teams that were a little bit too slow to react, like the Philadelphia 76ers choosing Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler. I'm always saying this. Them hanging on to Ben Simmons a little bit too long cost Embiid an earlier championship window. You can also take a look at the Boston Celtics when they traded away the fan favorite Marcus Smart. That team was able to elevate with Jrue Holiday. Even the Toronto Raptors with their hometown favorite DeMar DeRozan, the whole time that was a championship team, but they just needed that 1A option in Kawhi Leonard. So this same situation right here could end up playing out for the Knicks. Do they need to take some of our favorite guys like Josh Hart and Deuce McBride to kind of trade them away for a more finished, more solid product that's good at both ends of the floor and just not falling into that trap of being content? Or is it too fucking fast to rush to judgment? Ironically, Rich Paul and Max Kellerman touch base on this when it comes to the Knicks, and there's a lot of doublespeak because it's really hard to pinpoint whether they're making a pitch to the Knicks with all the overpraising of Mike Brown and just the criticisms of Rob Pelinka not necessarily making any moves. Even though he has LeBron James and Luka, them boys down in Clutch Sports, they still do believe LeBron James can contribute to a highly competitive team. But again, this shit is just so multi-layered, and a lot of it's going to come down to the decision-making of Leon Rose. And Rich Paul not only sheds a light on it, he's slightly applying that pressure. But you guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
The ball is moving a lot more than it did in the Tibbs offense, but
the bench is better. Evolution. The ball is moving. Adjustments are made.
But I still
late
think,
in games.
I still think if I'm the Knicks and I'm looking at our situation, I'm saying, okay, we're good. We're good. The East is a little depleted. It's a little.
Who do you want to bring in?
All over the place. I definitely think it's from a guard perspective. If you're dissecting, if you break it, what is your playoff rotation? Because you got to cut it to 8 or 9, right?
Yeah, I think we know what it is.
So if you're looking at that, I'm really looking at how do I improve the back four?
Well, so who drops out? So you have your 5 starters plus Mitch, Clarkson, McBride, Kolek.
That's where things kind of get gray, Max. Between Shamet, Kolek, Clarkson, once you start getting down that realm, everything is kind of gray area. And it leaves you to wonder if you could package some of those guys for a more solidified role player. Especially with Yabusele, man. He was supposed to provide that size for the Knicks to sort of deal with that Pascal Siakam issue that we had in the Eastern Conference Finals. But right now, we're way too fucking small.
Who's dropping out of that?
Oh, you forgot Shamet too.
Shamet, that's 5 guys off the bench. You're right.
I mean, you could play 10. You're not playing 12.
But you're not playing one of those 5. You're not playing if you're bringing in someone else.
See, I think in the playoffs, right, and this is why depth matters. And I always say this to teams. And this is what players have to understand about being role players. In the playoffs, it's about each series and the style of the fight in each series.
Right.
There may be a playoff series where Clarkson matters, right? And you have to lean on that. But there also may be a playoff series where you need Kolek, you need 2 ball handlers. So it's about having that depth.
When you say bring in a guard, are you talking about a guard who can also defend, a guard who can play make, a guard who can shoot? I think you're not going to get all those, or it's a star.
No, I think
so what are you looking at?
I think a little bit more size.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
and
that's a good idea.
And that can also play with Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
I like Josh Hart starting, but Josh Hart's the type of player, he's going to do whatever you ask him to do anyway. And
this is the issue with the Knicks structurally. Josh Hart needs to shoot it better from long range. If Josh Hart shot the 3, like he's had a couple seasons in his career where he's not doing it well enough. If he shot the 3 well enough, let's say at least 35% or above for the season, then then the starting 5 is the way you want it. The fact is, the reason you think that about Josh Hart, because he does everything else, is he doesn't shoot it well enough.
Yeah, well, he's definitely doing a much better job this season, but the Knicks have way too many questions very similar to Josh Hart with other players. Deuce McBride, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, how consistent will their shooting be? And then the lack of size with Tyler Kolek, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, Landry Shamet. And in a way, we could also put him with that, you don't know what to expect when it comes to shooting from game to game. So there's way too many question marks on what exactly can you expect out of guys. I mean, you could even look at Mitchell Robinson off the bench. You know you're going to get that defense, but on the offensive end, he's really reliant on other players. There's just way too much of that going on with the Knicks right now. And these are the question marks that we have even before dealing with something that every other team faces, which is health.
The fact is, the reason you think that about Josh Hart, because he does everything else, is he doesn't shoot it well enough.
Yeah, well, he's never going to shoot it like a Desmond Bane would shoot it. But maybe, I'm trying to think of a player that kind of turned themselves into a shooter like that on a good team.
A guard?
A guard that
I mean,
wasn't,
it's possible.
that came in known for their defense,
Yeah.
hustle. You know, Josh Hart gets extra possessions.
Tony Allen ever have any seasons where he shot it a little? I mean, it happens
Tony
when
has shot it.
Yeah, he shot it
decently,
okay a
yeah.
couple.
But he was
I mentioned
so good
Draymond the other day, not a
defensively.
guard, but Draymond had a season where I think he shot 38 from
Well,
three.
if they
'cause
win
he
that
did
game
so much-
7, he wins the MVP of the
Yeah,
finals.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that I think when you have a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, if you're playing him at the 5, right, then you have enough spacing on the floor that Josh Hart should be getting really good looks. You know, like everyone on the floor. OG's shooting it well. Mikal Bridges shoots it well. Obviously, Brunson. Josh Hart's he should be getting good looks enough for him to shoot it well.
But again,
he's not. When Josh Hart shoots it well, they look like they're
not
beating
to,
teams.
Not
Really
to
good
turn
teams.
him into somebody he's not going to be.
Yeah.
Just go
get that guy?
Yeah. Well, just going. I'm just saying, I never like to be complacent. And sometimes I think teams, you know, you ride this regular season with that, and then you get to a place and you need something. It's like, no.
Who, Rich? Who?
Well, I have to think about it more.
We all know who you're thinking about, Rich. Go get your guy LeBron or just wait till the offseason. But at the end of the day, right here, he is applying that pressure on Leon Rose not to get complacent with this roster. And these things are sort of easier said than done, especially in today's NBA with teams afraid of hitting that second apron. Look what's going on with Trae Young, Ja Morant, and even Anthony Davis. Teams don't want to necessarily give away a bunch of assets for these guys. Trae Young, even with his individual resume with the All-Star appearances and his statistical numbers, got virtually salary dumped in a trade. So trading someone like Karl Anthony Towns away, if that needs to be the fix of this team, is not going to be an easy task. Knicks insider Fred Katz gave great insight to this as he relates it to the Trae Young situation. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
If you're going to trade Towns right now, tell you what, I've spoken to people around the league and asked them, like, where do you think his value's at? And the most common response that I get is, look at the Trae Young deal. Look at the Trae Young deal. Trae Young has a player option for next season, and all he got back was CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, and that was it. Now I think Towns is a better player than Trae Young, but Towns is now shown that, you know, he's had locker room problems in New York with, you know, Mike Brown.
And it's also been shown that teams invest in a lot of players around him. It happened in Minnesota, them going out getting Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley while having the first overall pick in Anthony Edwards, and it still wasn't enough. The Knicks right now are barely under the second apron. There's a lot of investment in Karl Anthony Towns. There should be no reason why this team looks shaky in a championship season with the Eastern Conference being so depleted with injuries. It's fucking January. Our identity should start to be forming right now.
His value is down. He's having the worst year of his career since he became a real player, even though I think he'll possibly still make the All-Star team. On top of that, I mean, I think Towns is a better player than Trae Young. And I think he's a less detrimental defensive player than Trae Young. Because Trae Young, it's just like, if you have him, you are going to suck on defense. And we've seen defenses that are good that still have Karl Anthony Towns.
I'm not sure that's going to be necessarily the case for the Knicks. Even though Rudy Gobert next to Towns did end up working for the T-Wolves, that Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns lineup for the Knicks has not worked out in the same manner.
Is that Young has a player option for next year, whereas Towns is $53 million this year, $57 million next year, and then a $61 million player option for 27-28. And the reality is, when you look at these teams, like, let's look at the pauper teams, like, let's look at Charlotte. We're talking about, when we get to matching salaries, we're talking about like Miles Bridges, Colin Sexton, and maybe they throw you're trading Towns, you have to get a big back because you can't rely on Mitchell Robinson's health and he's on a minutes restriction. So like maybe you get back a Ryan Kalkbrenner in that deal. Like, I mean, that's maybe you get back a Sion James. Talking about two guys who were second round picks less than a year ago. Good second round picks. It's just hard for me to see a Towns trade that really makes sense when he's at the bottom of his value. It's hard for me to see a Towns trade that makes them better on paper. Now, I think if you're going to make the argument that a Towns trade makes them better, it's because the situation has become so toxic that you're like, it's addition by subtraction. And you got to choose one. And I don't know if they're at that case, but if you determine they're at that case, then that's how you make the argument.
Now that right there is one of the worst positions teams could be in, where they just have to get rid of a star. Within today's NBA landscape, it's just too hard to do. Look how the Mavericks are trying to get rid of Anthony Davis, but yet there's no suitors. Even the Chicago Bulls has stated that they're not giving up any of their young core for AD. Ja Morant as well as LaMelo Ball was put out there in the market, and there's not really any suitors. This is the new reality, fellas. Buckle up.
But like, the Knicks are all about proper asset management. They're all about that. Are they really going to be like, oh yeah, Karl Towns for Miles Bridges, and let's put together the Utah core of Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson again? Like, are they really? That's what's going to happen here.
Yeah,
you know,
not in a rational world. Not in a rational world, but are we dealing with a different? Like, can they hold to that standard and that thought process when you are a team that has to make the finals? I mean, when your owner comes out and says that, like, does that change? Can you not stick to your principles as much as you would like to, given the expectations? And look, Karl Towns, I mean, he's missing shots in close, and he's missing his wide open threes at a rate where I just have to think, based on how he's played over the course of his career, that those numbers are going to change, and he's going to start making those shots, and then things look different.
But you got to wonder, is it fucking mental? The fact that you're missing shots around the cup when you never did that throughout your whole career, like what the fuck is going on here?
Again, if you don't come to that conclusion and you want to move him, it'll be interesting because Leon Rose, there's a deep relationship there. He was Karl Towns' agent. They're friendly. They're very close with the Towns family, William Wesley as well. And so there's that layer. I mean, do you send somebody who you have a very close relationship with, trade for him, and then a couple years later you send him out?
With Karl Anthony Towns' history, that option of trading him was always on the table. The T-Wolves spent a lot of money to put a team around him, but yet you really can't say that him and Anthony Edwards were ever a duo out there in Minnesota. And the same thing is playing out right now here in New York. Where's the fucking synergy between him and Brunson? They're looking like Giannis and Dame out there. Just your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn.
It's it shouldn't factor in to anything because this is a business, but I just wonder how much that would factor into any potential thought of moving Cat.
I mean, look, I think it would. The Knicks historically have tried to do right by guys when they trade them.
It's looking more like the Knicks are just going to have to buckle up and just figure it out, because the way the cap is just structured and the overall marketplace with other NBA teams, they're not trying to make moves to owe someone over $160 million the next 3 seasons. Even the losing teams don't want to touch that. This is just how the NBA is structured today. In the past, normally teams that are out of the loop would just participate in a 3-way trade and take a draft pick and then eat that salary. But that's no longer the case. Right now, the easiest thing is going to be for Mike Brown to make his adjustments, and maybe perhaps the Knicks riding this out, and if they continue to struggle, kind of package some of our favorite players for a more solidified role player. From Leon Rose to Mike Brown to the guys on the floor, especially Karl Anthony Towns. Much innovation is going to be needed because teams like this were not meant to have multiple attempts at a championship run. Not in today's NBA with these team building rules. It's just not happening. So with all the Knicks trade rumors this season, it's great to touch on the business side of the game, as the days of the bigger market NBA teams just buying up stars and not caring about paying luxury tax are over. The local side of the NBA TV money has definitely taken a hit. And right here in this segment, we're going to get great insight from an NBA reporter to how the Knicks this season are operating in a $40 million loss compared to last year. That very same scenario when it comes to the local TV money has forced Jeannie Buss and her family to sell the Lakers, as they'll eventually end up in the same situation. So the NBA is definitely restructuring on how it's doing business, more like an NFL style, where every team, as far as the media money, kind of makes the same amount. And in the second part of this segment, we'll hear directly from James Dolan as he acknowledges this situation. And you got to wonder, MSG Networks did give the Knicks the leverage to kind of distance themselves versus other franchises when it comes to not only their spending, but just being that world-class franchise. But it's going to be a nice mixed bag with this one, as we'll touch base on the new business model for a lot of these NBA franchises that want to kind of separate themselves from the pack. But to kick it off, we're going to hear from NBA insider Brian Windhorst as he gives great details on how the Knicks are operating at a $40 million loss and how that ties into Jeannie Buss and her family looking at the forest through the trees and selling the Lakers. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
And the second reason they sold is because local television in America is collapsing, and the Lakers have been untouched by it, but they will be touched by it. So almost every pro sports team in America has had to take a pay cut from their local TV deal, basically with the exception of the Lakers. Last year, for example, the New York Knicks made $141 million. And the same company that owns the Knicks local TV deal and that owns the Knicks is the same company. Mm-hmm. And the company went into bankruptcy, and they had to cut the Knicks by about $40 million. The Knicks are getting $40 million less this year than they did last year. The Knicks, where the parent company owns both. The Lakers got about $200 million last year, and they're going to get the $200 million this year, okay? And the real differentiation between a team like the Lakers and the Grizzlies is that local TV money. The Grizzlies make $11 million a year. The Lakers make $200 million. They compete for the same conference.
Now, the only reason the Lakers are still getting the $200 because they're locked in that deal. But the company that they partner with in order to do that television deal is going through some financial difficulty. So it's only a matter of time before they really be in the same situation as the Knicks.
And now, if Jeannie was here, she would say, well, we have to share that money. We share the money with the players. Yes, you share the money with the partners. Yes, it's not dollar for dollar. But that is the Buffalo Bills and the LA Rams get the same check, okay? Because it's all shared. What differentiates the Lakers financially is that local TV deal. And the local TV, the company is for sale.
And the same thing would apply here for the Knicks. MSG Networks is really what gave them that separation versus other franchises. But these financial difficulties are striking all broadcast networks locally. It's not just sports.
The Buffalo Bills and the LA Rams get the same check, okay? Because it's all shared. What differentiates the Lakers financially is that local TV deal. And the local TV, the company is for sale, okay? And so they are under threat. And so in Baxter's story, he said that the Buss family each got between $3 and $5 million a year. Like, that was their salary. Mm-hmm. And they don't have maybe they have other investments where they get, but they don't have other jobs. Like, Jeannie's job is running the Lakers, and she gets a salary for being the president, but that's it. When a billionaire buys a team, if the team loses $50 million, fine, he's got his other businesses. It's the Lakers family business. So here we have the Knicks, who are comparable to the Lakers, taking a 33% pay cut. The Lakers were facing that. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but very soon.
And low-key, because they're mom and pop business, they really couldn't afford that. That family was already paying higher taxes than usual after their father had passed away, because he was grandfathered in for the Lakers to pay Los Angeles County at a lower tax rate. So once he passed away, their tax bill went from $67 million to, I believe, like $1.3 billion.
Knicks, who are comparable to the Lakers, taking a 33% pay cut. The Lakers were facing that. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but very soon. So they were facing a situation where their local TV, which differentiates the Lakers from everybody else, was under threat, and the valuations exploded. Teams went from selling for, $2-3 billion to selling for $6 billion. They get $10 billion. That's why they sold.
Again, that local TV money is really drying up. Half the NBA teams in the league got caught up in that Bally Sports fiasco with them filing for bankruptcy. And the NBA, after pivoting those 15 teams to a different type of distribution with FanDuel, even they ended up running into financial issues. So with that said, this is why we're seeing teams like the Golden State Warriors, their business model is sort of like the new blueprint, where you have your arena and you have a whole ecosystem built around it. The Dumont family that recently purchased the Dallas Mavericks are trying to apply that same blueprint, except more than likely, they're going to add an additional casino on that property. Owning an NBA team today for these new class of billionaires coming into the league, the teams themselves are just a vehicle for them to actually own a complex portfolio of just real estate. Again, the Dumont family, when they talk about the Mavericks, they're talking about they want to make a world-class ecosystem around the arena where it's fine dining, shopping, hotels. The Golden State Warriors right now kind of have the same setup, and they even dived into the commercial real estate. I believe a few tech companies have a couple leases with them. So this is how a lot of teams are going to start to separate themselves. And a lot of that money that's being generated does not have to go into that shared revenue pot with the luxury tax. Things are definitely changing with the league very fast, and James Dolan spoke on it. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
It's evolving, right? I don't think that. I think over the long term, you're probably not going to get your games from the cable company. They're probably going to
app specific.
They're going to be streaming,
right?
Yeah. You'll get a bunch of games nationally, right? About 30 out of 80, and the rest will come to you streaming, and that's just it's just the evolution of media.
That's that NFL model. Every team gets the same amount of money. It's going to be very interesting to see how James Dolan pivots from this, because that Golden State Warrior blueprint is insane, and it could lead up to a possible move out of MSG. Right now, today's consumers don't want to necessarily pay $300 for an MSG app to watch the Knicks game. The value proposition doesn't even make any sense. Putting down that type of amount of money just for one team when you can get Netflix for almost half the price or any other streaming service. And it's just not the local sports teams. ESPN also tried to do the same thing with Fox Sports and TNT, but under court ruling, they were actually rejected from doing so due to monopoly reasons. And overall, the whole media landscape is it's consolidating, shit is changing, and money's it's a lot more scarce. This right here does have an effect on teams trying not to overload their rosters with expensive players to hit that second apron. Owners want to win, but they definitely don't want to shell out a ton of money when the business already is taking a bunch of losses than the previous year. That's why this Giannis situation is very complicated. It's not only for the Knicks, but whoever they're making the trade with, whether it be the Bucks, the Hawks, the Lakers. It's a tough position for everybody. Look at Anthony Davis in Dallas. They would love to get rid of him, but there's really no takers. It is what it is. You fellas definitely hit up the link in the description below. Check out the Knicks True Story playlist and also the Knicks Hardwood Nuances. It's a little bit of the game film mixed in with the storytelling. And until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.